I think we're sinking.
Oh, you are the biggest fish in the world. Yes, you are. You are the biggest little fishy in the world. Yes, you are. I like you so much. You are my Squishy, and Squishy I shall name you. Where's the phone? Let's take a picture.
Do you fish? No. You know, people who don't fish think that fishing is lazy or boring, but it is the complete opposite. There are 100 little decisions to be made, variables to be considered, and you're never quite sure what made the difference. Did I cast too high, too far to the left? Did I reel it in too slow or too fast? Is the lure too shiny or too dull? Do I stay here or should I go over there? And you know it's not luck, but you do not know by how much, because I am never disappointed out here because I don't expect anything, because anything is possible. I can be hopeful out here, even in failure. Because I know if I just go out there around that tree, it might be different. Something might be different. Something I do might make a difference.
Thomas Ahrens. Fishing in DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good evening, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight for this monumental call-in show that we are going to be having tonight? Now, this is a beta test, so I can already hear people in the comment sections getting a little upset, possibly like, oh, this is not perfect. Why is this not working out? We had to do this. We had to bite the bullet and have this break-in period. So again, the call-in number down below is 240-542-9877. We did a little beta test on my own Facebook channel, so hopefully we're going to get this bad boy working here. Carly, are you coming on the show too? To say hi? Come on, say hi. Your fans.
Hey, how's it going? I thought you needed my help.
Huh? Yeah, just talking to the peoples. Because you have all the fans from the last episode.
Who's on today?
Huh?
We got
So
Tony
far we got
Halsted.
so far we got 9, 10, 11, 12 in the queue. And then guys, please let me know in the comment section down below, how does the audio sound right now while we get going here? We'll be taking phone calls here in a minute. I'm going to be getting some questions answered. Hello, Curtis. How are you doing, son? Let me get that up there. Pop that off there. So again, guys, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to be pulling the hotline number up there. I'm going to be trying to take in your phone calls. We're going to see if we can get this thing to work. This is, again, beta test night to make sure all this runs smoothly.
Why don't you have people message that they want to call in and then have them choose different times to call in? So say they can call in at like...
I love how you can think with this massive audience that we're actually going to get a ton of people. Like, this is just going to be waves. Carly's like, there's going to be like 30 calls lined up.
Even if 3 people want to call in. So you say, okay, well, the first person call in at 7:12. I don't know. 7:10. That's in 3 minutes. But call in at 7:10, right? And then the next caller will be calling in at 7:20, and then the next one at 7:30. So just call in like that and say, who wants the 7:10 slot? All right. Give us a comment if you're interested on calling in at 7:10.
Perfect. All right. So with that said, what Carly would like someone to do is call me in 2 minutes, basically. You have 2 minutes, and I'll put that phone number right up here. Let's see if she's right or if I'm right. You could help our marriage out right here real quick. The call-in number again is 240-542-9877. Let's see if this freaking thing will work. I did the free version, so hopefully it works here. But anyway, I want to get to some of the questions tonight, and we already have a really good one here. Carly, why don't you say out his name? Go for it.
That's Tony Halsted. Do tube Ned rigs work best when you have eyes on a bass and or have forward-facing sonar and know they are there? I'm sitting in a kayak without eyes on most fish and don't have electronics.
That's a very, very good question. And he's got a backup one. Hold on.
Oh, Ned rigs. Ignore tube and text. I have good luck with tube baits, but get nothing when I switch to Ned rigs. Also, how long should the Ned rig sit before recasting? That's a couple questions.
Oh, is this when we got a call?
Yeah, looks like it. It was missed. Missed call. Call again. Who called? I shouldn't call him back.
Yeah, we're trying it right now. We're trying to call him back right now.
My bad.
Let's see if this works. We got our
Your
first
call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Well, that's not a great start to today's call-in show, but we're going to get that going there. Anyway, to answer your question, Tony, tube Ned rig works best. I'm sitting in a kayak. Without forward-facing sonar, honestly, at this time of year, you really should be working it probably a little bit faster. And so keeping it on the bottom. And I would really say when you shouldn't be hopping it as much as dragging it. I really prefer the dragging approach at this time of year to make sure you're actually keeping good bottom contact and then hopping it every now and then, but not making the hop the most consistent part of the retrieve. I would say just count 5 to 6 seconds. 5 to 6 seconds, then move it. 5 to 6 seconds, then move it. Then do that for a while. And then if that doesn't work, then adjust it. Generally speaking, this time of year, there's a ton of fish in all sections of the river, and you're going to get bit with a Ned rig with something, some size. So if you're not getting bit, I would probably link that to this section of the river you're in. There's some issue, because if there's fish there, you're going to get bit, clearly. And then Carly, we got here. I think that's working. Voicemail, perfect. Is that right? Okay, cool. Sweet. That's a really good question. We got not long at all. Can fish be dragging and hopping? Yeah. Not, Looney is a brand new guide this year. He has a great guide service on the North and South Fork and the main stem of the Shenandoah River. So he knows what he's talking about. You really shouldn't be wasting too much time moving that bait around. Again, guys, call number is 240-542-9877. Feel free to give me a call here, and you guys can be the first person to call will win a prize. I will be giving away a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle to whoever actually is the first one to do the call-in ever in Fishing the DM history. So hopefully to make sure this technology works correctly. I did have a really cool topic to start off with, which was with forward-facing sonar, as this question kind of entailed. And I think it was posted on the Northern Virginia Facebook group, believe it or not. And the individual, really nice guy, was just asking, and I'm paraphrasing, you can go back and find the comment, it was today. And he's talking about how important is it to actually have forward-facing sonar? How much of an advantage does it give you? Is it ethics and all this stuff? I have now spent 6 months with forward-facing sonar on my boat. I've had 360 for a very long time, about 6-7 years. I had the old 360, now I have the Mega. Now I have Mega, and I also have forward-facing sonar. Forward-facing sonar.
Call from.
Caller, you're here. Can you hear me? This is not working. Can you hear me?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press...
This is why we're getting a burner phone. Perfect. Now you can see why we actually need 2 people to run this thing. Find that guy's number again. You can get him to call back. Huh? Who called?
No, I just said, like, whoever just called, leave a comment. So that
She wants this to be as complicated as possible.
Hello?
Hello. You are on the show.
Oh, great. Sounds good.
Perfect. Actually, you're coming in really clear. Hopefully everyone can hear you. So,
All right.
what's your
There's
question?
My question is about bass feeding at night.
Bass feeding at night. And then again, guys, let me know in the comment section down below how he sounds right now. And then also just text me your email address, and then you're going to get a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle, since you're the first one that we actually figured out how to do this with.
All right.
Bass feeding at night. Let's break it down with and without the moon phases first. A lot of times, again, guys, this is my opinion. There's another great person to talk about this is also Billy Coles, who's going to be on the show in 2 weeks, and we'll talk about night fishing. But I think a lot of these highly pressured lakes, when it gets extremely hot, they completely switch to nighttime feeding activities, and they're going to be going up into just know-nothing banks, places that generally wouldn't be in the day, but at night they're going to be chasing bait up into those areas. The other factor will be also, I think, is the moon phase. I think a full moon, the reason the full moon affects the morning bite is I think fish feed later into the evening because they have that extra light penetration.
Yeah, I have noticed the lighter the night, the worse the morning bite is. I think they're full. I think till morning they're full. And I was just wondering your opinion on the larger bass versus the younger one. We're in the middle of summertime, their metabolism high, they're all eating, but it seems like we're able to catch the smaller ones throughout the day, where I was wondering if you thought the larger ones are really feeding up overnight.
I think bigger bass are massive opportunistic feeders and they're savvy. That's how they got that big. It's no different than I think a buck or a big shark. And they want something to help them ambush more effectively. Now, the only caveat to this thought process would be like blueback baits, like blueback lakes and stuff like that, where they act like striper. But besides that, I think darkness gives them a huge advantage. And so if you were a big 5, 6, 7, 8 pound bass and you have the darkness to work in your favor, you don't have to compete with all the little dinks.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Now, the one thing I'm curious about, and I need to get somebody on that's more intelligent than me, is about black, because black works so freaking well at night. And I've always been curious why that color plays so well.
Yeah. I have to do some more. I have to do some more dark time fishing because I gotta get. We did some very early morning fishing and had some success, but every time we fish late into the evening, I don't know if we're not staying out late enough or if it just was a bite window. But the later we stay out till it gets pitch black and we just can't buy a bite. So I'm not sure whether I'm not staying out late enough or might have just been those few times that we tried it.
Would you be willing to devolve the lake? That could probably glean some insight.
Oh, it's Pinchot State Park in Pennsylvania. It's a small lake that gets absolutely hammered. I mean, it's a very small lake, and it's nothing to be out there with 40 other boats or kayaks or anything.
What do you think the predominant forage is in that lake?
They have the gizzard shad. There's a lot of gizzard shad and crawfish. But I'd say gizzard shad and bluegill are the predominant forage.
With the crawfish, what I find interesting is I think the full moon does really play a big part in it, and that they're going to feed a little bit later at night around the full moon. And I don't know if you kind of saw that or not, if the moon phase had anything to do with that.
Okay. Like I said, in the mornings, we also fish the Susquehanna River. We rather fish the Susquehanna River than the small lakes around my area. But our fishing on the Susky at night is limited due to the dangerous low water situations. I mean, you just can't run certain places at night.
Yeah, that would probably not be good for one's health.
Yeah.
It's not
No.
worth it for a fish.
No.
And I think that is also something where when we think night fishing, I don't truly believe the bite is, and I think it's a lake by lake basis, it's going to be all night till 3 a.m. I think there's windows. I think there's that witching hour going into about, at least when I've had the most success, it's going into like midnight, 11 to midnight, and then it kind of shuts off until 2 to 3 hours before the sun hits.
Okay.
But I've rarely been night fishing where it's just been fire for 7 hours straight.
Right. I don't expect that. I just trying to wrap my head around the feeding, trying to use night fishing, people's night fishing experiences to help with daytime feeding as well. Like why can't we catch big bass on certain days when, I mean, the bite's great. Like, we're catching plenty of fish, but now and we'll catch an occasional large fish, but it's like, okay, the large fish got to be eaten all day too. Why, is it are they feeding at night and pushing the little ones out of the good feeding spots? Or, I'm trying to use night fishing as to help fish through the day, help figure out the fish during the day.
The one thing also is that you're not going to be catching like the smaller ones, the dinks, if you will, during night fishing, generally speaking.
Okay.
And I think that also makes it a little bit harder because you don't get that feedback of an area. You could blow through an area, and instead of in the morning where you're catching a couple of small ones, then okay, maybe this is a spot that a big one hasn't pulled up on yet. You might go right past an area, but there's not that many. And so you really got to work that area a little bit more. The thing is, like, larger fish are extremely territorial. I mean, generally speaking, and on smaller bodies of water, I've seen this in like a Wilkinson Pond in Winchester. There's like 3 main areas that I know the big ones will pull up onto, and you can fish those, and they either bite or they don't, and then you leave. And I think Matt Allen talked about this actually when he said, like, why do so many big fish come out of these lakes in California, these small lakes? And he said it's just the probability factor that if you have a small lake, you have less key spots that they'll set up on, so you have a higher chance of running into them. Versus if you're on a bigger lake, it'll be harder to find an area and then be able to be there at right place, right time.
Yeah. Sounds good.
But no, thank you so much for calling. And shoot me a text message with an email address, or just let me know in the comment section, and I'll send you a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Hey, we got our first caller, guys. That worked out extremely well. Now, what I'm going to do is have my lovely wife, because we just had 5 voicemails. So what you're going to do is just call them back, get them on, and then plug me back in.
Call them back?
Yeah. And then just plug one of them back in. That actually, guys, that worked extremely well for our first call. Again, this is all free software. I'm going to be trying to upgrade to a board so I can actually have a switcher thing. Night fishing, that is something I want to delve into more. And we'll make that a topic. Let's get a professional night fishing angler on the show to actually really go in depth so we can all learn a little bit more. I mean, that's something I used to do so much as a kid. Is I'd go to like Lake Frederick in Northern Virginia, and I would night fish a lot. And I remember throwing a black and blue jig up in the treetops and absolutely smoking them. Stephen Lloyd Fishing. Yeah, hopefully my audio sounded a little bit better there. Again, guys, you give me a call. The phone number is 240-542-9877. Give it a call. My wife will be there to answer the phone, make sure we get somebody through, and then we'll plug you back in. So this is how this system is going to be working tonight. But anyway, I was talking about the live scope. I thought it was interesting. I think live scope is overhyped. Hear me out. I think live scope is overhyped in what it'll gain you. It'll give you a very distinct advantage. I believe this is true 100%. However, it's not as big of an advantage as you might think. And that might make no sense at all. If it was in running terms, is it going to shave 30 seconds off your run time if you were racing? No, but it'll shave a couple of seconds off, and those couple of seconds could be everything. And so if you're getting live scope and you're thinking that if you get live scope, you're going to catch 60, 70 extra fish and you're literally going to watch them hit your bait every single time, that's not usually how live scope works. And I think that's where people get this misconception, because you watch these YouTube videos. You watch these YouTube videos online of these people dropping their bait down and them smoking it, or you watch some of these tournaments where they set up and people are ripping it. But that's like such a very small percentage of the time that live scope will be used in that specific way. To me, it's a tool to let you eliminate water quicker. And I think that is the big thing no one really talks about. People get all hyped up on the cool videos of watching something strike your lure. But what you don't see is all those times that you can go to a point and you shine your live scope over the point while you're fishing it, and you realize there's nothing here. And instead of you wasting 5, 6, 7 casts on that point, boom, you're gone. You just move to the next point. I was fishing a tournament last Saturday on Big Slack, which is like a dammed up portion of the Upper Potomac River with Cole. I think Cole's in the chat. Hail, bud. And that was vital. We were fishing, and there was this submerged logish thing in the water. It was up off the bottom by about 2 or 3 feet. And I threw a Ned rig at it. He threw I think he threw a tickler at it, nothing. And then we were going to pack up and move. And as I was putting all the rods away, the boat drifted off a little bit, and the live scope panned over to the left of the tree by about 10 feet. And there were these perfect textbook dots just hovering up off to the side of the tree. And I picked up a bait and I casted to it. 6 cranks, boom, we catch the biggest smallmouth of the day. Now, I didn't see him hit the bait. Okay. But I knew they were there, and that made me stay a little bit longer. That also happened in the tournament with my wife that she won. There was an area, and we saw the activity was going insane, and you could just pan around and see like the fish were moving. There was activity, there was life. I never saw a fish hit a bait during the tournament that we won, but I was able to get the information from the live scope that told me like I should probably stay in this area because there's a lot of activity, and work through it. And so I think that's where live scope really helps you, is it helps you with your decision making, and it makes your decision making faster. Granted, there are times that you're going to be able to use it to be able to see the fish and whatnot. So, hopefully that helps with that. I did have this other question on Instagram that I wanted to kind of answer. Where is it? So there was a really good question about Lake Holiday and the Lake Manassas controversy, because boy, did that get heated. And this was something else that I really, really wanted to talk about. Oh, we got fishing catch. I have a product idea for the fishing industry. Any idea how a person could go about making that happen? Well, what is your idea, boss? Like, what is your product idea? And what I mean by that is it a t-shirt? Is it a bait? Is it a boat? Is it what, like, and that can kind of help you figure out how to do it. Social media is very important. Getting it in the hands of the right people is very important. Like, need a little bit more information up on there. It's all uphill from here. Yeah, no, I agree. I really agree there. And then we got 2 more questions there from Kurt. Kurt, hello, sir. How are you doing? We got loud and clear. Good. I'm glad my audio is working there. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Sounds good now. Just fix the levels. Good. I'm glad my audio is working now. Good. Next week, we also will have the battle. I'm hoping to do this. This is some breaking news. Is next Monday, we're going to have hopefully the winner of the NVKBA Battle of 5 Lakes Tournament 2.0 Electric Boogaloo on the show for the live stream. So hopefully that'll actually happen. Again, the phone number is 240-542-9877. How did everybody like that interview with Joe Love? That one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that a lot. What you got? Any phone calls?
No phone calls yet.
Any voicemails?
No.
Cool. So, Thomas, your volume needs to be up. Okay. I can crank that up a little bit more. Thank you, sir. No, that Joe Love conversation was fantastic. And the idea that we finally get a black bass community, a stamp to actually help to go into funding all the black bass is fantastic. And hopefully that is something that we can use to help to do some supplemental stocking of our fisheries. Because I do think it's needed, and there's a place for that. And I was talking to Charlie Taylor about that yesterday. Actually, I gave Charlie Taylor a call just to see how he's doing and stuff. He's still winning tournaments and writing fantastic articles. And I do feel like there are circumstances where supplemental stocking is kind of important. I mean, look at the smallmouth situation. I just had Travis Eden of Kingfisher Guide Service that just dropped today, and we were talking about the importance of, the smallmouth on the Shenandoah and the Upper Potomac, and how some of those smallmouth on the Upper Potomac, they're not even part of the breeding program, and they don't even know how they got in there, which is just absolutely fascinating to me. Like, how does that even work? Like, how did they even get in there? Now, granted, one person in the comment section said, well, it's probably from like the Shenandoah River, that they came in from the Shenandoah River and somehow like got into the Upper Potomac, but you got the Millville Dam there. So did they come over the Millville Dam? That doesn't make any sense to me, like, at all. Again, guys, the number is 240-542-9877. Give me a call and you can win a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. Again, you'll win a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. We'll keep this ball rolling here. I do have a text message. call from that. Okay. Ooh, here's a good one. Thomas, what did you use to catch them? Okay. So what I used to catch them in my tournament on the Upper Potomac. Ned rig. This one right here, the Panther Martin, is still getting some love. I still haven't caught a keeper with it, but I feel like eventually it's going to be due. Spy bait as well. Can we get this to work? Accept, press 1. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Tony Halstead. Thanks for taking my first question there. I'm in Annandale, Virginia. And my quick question is, with my brief experience fishing the rivers versus most of my experience, which is Pohick and Mason Neck, being on moving water, I feel like I've had the most luck scraping along the banks. And the few times where I've floated down Potomac from, I think it's Mason Island down to White's Ferry, in that area more or less, when I'm out where the grass is in the middle of the river, I'm not really getting anything. But when I go up against the banks, that's where I've had the best luck. So I guess that's my question. Where when you're on the river, do you try and do both or focus on one or the other?
Yes.
Well, thanks.
Where are you catching them then? You just answered, I think, your own question. I should be taking lessons from you. I mean, it sounds like
No,
you tried the middle of the river, you didn't have success there, and you made an adjustment, and then you started catching them.
that's true, but it's very limited experience. So I don't know. Should I throw an anchor in and try harder, like in the middle, and go slower, or just, I don't know if I was passing more fish too quickly and had the wrong rig. So I just was curious if where do people focus on when you're fishing a river? And to me,
Finish thought.
it's been the banks, but I don't know if it's exclusively.
No, and then again, and I have so many river rats probably in this comment section. If you can hear them, okay, feel free to put your thoughts in the chat. I keep going back to once you eliminate what is false, whatever is left must be true. And I could tell you what a Bassmaster magazine says, or I could say in general, yeah, the main stem of the river where you have deep pools, you have deep eddies, that's where you should go. Now, let's break that down. If you've been fishing that and you haven't had success, then you're just doing the square peg in a round hole and you're beating it. And there's no point, and you're gonna get frustrated. But what you did, which was smart, is you adapted and you're like, I'm not catching them, I'm gonna move to the bank, and you started catching them. And it comes down to current breaks in those poles. And really in the summertime, you shouldn't spend too much time in one place. This is not like the winter where you really have to milk a massive eddy, a pool, to get your bites. It should be fairly quick that if they're there or not, if that makes sense. And the other part of your question, you're talking about an anchor, correct?
Yeah.
You can use an anchor. I would be careful about it, because you don't want to get in a situation with your anchor system that you get it caught and you get your kayak flipped. And there are a ton of more intelligent people out there. I think Jeff Little did something on that as well, about how you can properly put an anchor on the kayak, so you don't get in trouble with that, so you can quick release. But just be mindful of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I when I do throw the anchor, it's more to hold a spot, and there's not much current. But when there is current, yeah, you really can't. And point well taken. Things happen in a hurry in a river. Whether you've got multiple poles and your lines start to get crossed and one gets snagged, and also everything starts to go over. That's not even an anchor. So yeah, you throw an anchor into the mix, you really, from experience, I know it can change in a heartbeat. So I'm reluctant to throw it, but usually, so when I'm in the middle, I don't throw the anchor, but when I'm in the edges, I do. And I tend to hold a spot because I'm kayaking. I try and milk a spot because I know once I leave it, I'm not going to go back. And I'm probably not going to kayak more than 3 or 4 miles, just because it's tiring going upriver.
Oh, 100%. And what's nice about now on the river, though, with the low water, a lot of it you can wade, like certain portions. And I don't know the specific area that you're in the water depth and all that, but there are certain portions where it's like, okay, I can beach the kayak and then I can still fish the middle of the river. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you say the main stem of the Upper Potomac, like between Harper's Ferry and the falls?
So I put in at White's Ferry, and I work upstream about a mile to the island. And then if I go to right now, because the water levels are so low, if I go to the right of the island, I actually can get out and do some wade fishing, and it saves my back a little bit. I can fish a little bit longer. But if I'm in the kayak all day, yeah, it's a rough day. So I do look for spots where I can get out and stretch, even if it's not the greatest spot to fish. I will do some wade fishing just to mix it up. But I'm when I'm on the main part of the Potomac, and not on like a tributary or where there's an island. If I'm where it's narrow, where the island is, I'll get out and fish. But if it's where it's the wider part of the river, if that makes sense, that's where I'm just coming down it, and that I'm not really getting the bites because I'm going too fast or I'm in the middle. Yeah, I'm trying to make those adjustments. So I'm just like, am I just flying past the fish and I can't get to them because I'm not going to throw an anchor, in the middle. But I will say this year it's a sweet spot because last year I fished or just kayaked the same stretch, and the water levels must have been a lot higher because there was no way to stop. Whereas right now, 3.5 foot, 4 feet of water, it's you can do a lot more upstream, going upstream in a kayak.
Yeah, the flow rates right now are way down, and that's what's so interesting about that portion of the Upper Potomac, between the Convergence and the falls. It's a lot wider. It's more like the Susky, and that's a unique thing where it's going to be harder to fish all of it versus if you went to the main stem of the Shenandoah, the splits of the Shenandoah, the Upper Potomac, just the regular Potomac. It's so narrow. What I would suggest there is you can just park somewhere, and then you can still hit the main part of the river. You can still hit dead nut center with your cast and everything. And then you have perfect boat control because you could just either beach it or just get out, and then you can really work an area. That portion right there.
Yeah, so I've done the Shenandoah twice, and I had that experience where it's much more narrow. And yeah, you're exactly right. You have more control of your boat, and we're in getting out and having almost full access to both banks with a long cast.
The other thing too is the shade factor. Like unless you're pushing right over top these deep holes and you're spooking them out, the other factor is it's just the shade lines, and there's just better cover for them right now on the bank.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
What are you
cool.
fishing?
All right, well, I'll let the next caller. Oh, I a lot of tube bait, pumpkin and white tube. I'm having the best luck on, with or without a weight, depending.
A white tube?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I learned on a couple of years ago, is white tubes. So I've got a lot of them to go through, but darker colors I'm trying to get in the habit of throwing more because I'm hearing from everyone else on your show that darker colors work good too. So I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, and I'm trying to like I said, use the Ned rig a little bit more and see if I can get some luck with that.
Darker colors, and then if you're trying a new bait, go a little bit smaller with it, just so you can get some confidence. I mean, it's the same thing. Like if you're going to throw a big glide bait, you're not going to get a lot of bites. It's hard to get confidence with it. If you want to start throwing a Ned rig to get confidence, I would suggest going down to like the TRD Mini, I think it's called the micro version. That thing will catch anything that swims on Mars. It will literally catch anything. It's super small, but you can still,
like 2.5 inch.
Yeah.
2 3/4.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
About 2.5 inch. The only thing would be like the mushroom head. It gets snaggy. I mean, you've probably heard me complain about that a little bit on the show, but it's a bait that'll catch everything, and you'll get confidence in it. And honestly, I don't know what it is, but sometimes on these rivers, those smallmouth get dialed in on some small stuff. It's so weird where you can't throw a big bait to get them. You have to go small to trigger a bite.
All good points. I'll go. I'll let you get on to the next caller or the next questions, but appreciate your show. It's a ton of good information. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Bye.
All right. We got 2 calls done. That was, guys, this is so far is actually working better than I thought. We're getting there. We're getting there with this. This is kind of what I've always envisioned fishing the DMV to be, would be like a call-in radio show. to really get that fan interaction and get to people just talking about fishing. Yeah, unless the jet boat, go back. Yeah, 100%. Like if you got a jet boat, it's so much more efficient to just boop, 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 hit spots, or you got a torpedo or something like that. Mr. Looney, Connor, it's all about depth. If you got grass with 1 to 2 feet, yes, your banks are probably steep banks with small drop offs. But again, like I think that's a very awesome question, because it's like, okay, how I interpreted what he was saying, and I could be wrong. You know, I be catching them in the main part of the river? I'm not, but I'm catching them here. And this hurt me as an angler when I was a kid and I was reading Bassmasters, and Bassmasters like, you should be throwing a 6-inch Bastrix, in, sexy shad color, and you're going to have success. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to tie on this 6-inch bait and cast around my pond. And I'm like, shit, I'm not catching anything, but the magazine says I should be catching it because this is the top bait. And you got to go with the generic information and then what your eyes are telling you. I'm going to tell a story that Curtis Cole, we were not getting bit in this area when we were fishing. And everybody on the planet told me that this other section of the Upper Potomac does not work in the summertime because the boat traffic, and it's a winter place, and therefore it's all terrible. It's yucky, never will work. And a lot of people said that to me. And it's like, well, if I'm not catching them here, therefore maybe I can catch them down there and just try it and let the fish tell me. And we made the move and we caught them. And it's sometimes I think we overanalyze a game plan where it's like, if they're not here, they're somewhere else. It's that simple. If you're catching them, don't leave. Keep it that simple. We got J Love. Upper Potomac, we've been catching them on Neds, wacky rigs, rattle traps, MEP spinners, tubes. Basically, you're saying everything that exists. Fat Alberts. Is that a bait? A Fat Albert with a spinner blade. I need to know if a Fat Albert's an actually thing. And then, guys, we're going to be taking one more call tonight. So if you'd like to get on the show, the number right here is 240-542-9877. I'll be taking your call this evening to hopefully answer your questions, or this lovely chat will be helping out as well. So just give me a call and I'll try to get you in to the show. And then honestly, if there's any tech savvy people out there, I really want to do more call-in shows. Please let me know what I actually need to be able to make this better, more efficient, besides a crew of like people to help out, which I don't, but I have my wife and that's kind of nice. So anyway, Fat Albert. Oh, that's a character in the show. Lure. Maybe I should add Lure, not just Fat Albert. That's probably a good call. Oh, it's a grub. I had no idea okay, cool. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I was expecting when I looked at that screen. You said Fat Albert. Like when you said a Fat Albert, I had no idea it was a grub. Why didn't you just say a grub? That makes way more sense. I'm a freaking idiot. Okay, a Fat Albert's a grub. I Googled Fat Albert and it's like, this is a cartoon character. I don't know what you're throwing. So that makes way more sense when I add the lure aspect there. Okay, yeah, you mean Zoom. Thank you. Yeah, you should have added the Zoom thing for my poor mind. We could have gone to some weird websites there if we did that, but we didn't. Thank goodness. Again, for all the winners, just shoot me a message. Just text me again, so I know it's from that same number, so I can get an email, so I can get you your gift card. Again, don't just put it in the chat because then I don't know who it is. Yeah, Jay, like I didn't know. You just said Fat Albert is more fun. Yeah, you just said Fat Albert, so I Googled it. Just be careful because I'll Google and read whatever you say. So bad things will happen if that happens. Again, yeah, 240-542-9877. I have no idea how the hell I can't read those numbers when they're right there in front of me. Sorry, I got to drink my devil water. No, but honestly, the grub really was the first swim bait, right? Like I remember watching Al Linder videos back in the day where you would basically take and you would fish a grub like a swim bait and you just slow roll it. A green pumpkin one, and you maybe dye the tail a little bit, or you could go with a white one, or translucent was really good to like mimic a minnow, and you'd slow roll that thing. And I remember, I think it was at, what was I at? I think, it was the Three Rivers Classic. When the Bassmaster went to Three Rivers Classic in Pittsburgh, and my brother, my younger brother, fished the Junior Bassmaster as part of that thing. It's a terrible place, absolutely terrible. But I was sitting on the bank fishing, and I smoked a bunch of dinks. But honestly, this probably would have been good fish there. Who knows? But just swimming a grub and just treating it like the Shenandoah, because back then the Shenandoah fished kind of like Pittsburgh. It wasn't great, but that was old school that we used to do. I mean, I honestly didn't really get into swim bait fishing. I really didn't get into swim bait fishing until 4 or 5 years ago, probably a year or two before I started fishing college. I just didn't have success with it because I just listened to Bassmasters and I was throwing those big old swim baits and I didn't get success. It was really when I narrowed down and started throwing like 2-3 inch swim baits and I realized you could catch them on it. And then I get the confidence to then go up to the bigger ones because I really feel like that's how it should. At least it works for me. You start small on a bait and you get confidence with its action, its rhythm, and then you can build on it. A swim bait, a jig, like, if you want to teach a kid how to throw a jig, get him a super small jig where he could like throw it for smallmouth in the summertime. It's not the best bait, but he can learn how to use it and he gets bit and he's like, okay, I know how to do this. And eventually you can build him up to a big old half ouncer where he's not going to get as many bites. I think that's really, really helpful for that. We got Looney Connor, swimming a grub, old school. Yeah, dude, it's absolutely old school. We got the Fat Albert's more fun. My sister's in the house with the laughing face emoji. That is hilarious. I already read that one. I think I'm all up to date on that. So we're going to throw this number back up here one more time. So we are going to give away one more gift card to whoever wants to call into the show. It's 240-542-9877. We're going to take one more call and then we're going to be shutting this down. This was a good test run of the call-in show. We're going to I'm going to have to talk to somebody that knows equipment and technology so we can figure out how to make this easier for one person like me. But again, give that number a call, 240-542-9877. One more time as we go around the sun. And then we got on Wednesday, we have a Rappahannock River fishing report. We have a guy that won a NVKBA kayak event there. Oh, hello, you are on Fishing the DMV.
Hey man, it's the fishing coach. I had the question about the product.
Oh, hi, how you doing?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Doing wonderful. Thanks for calling in. What can I help you with?
Well, you were asking what kind of product it was, and it's something that's already kind of out there in the industry. It's a fishing accessory, I would call it. But the way I hope to implement it would be to add some app development and some software, and I really have no idea which way to go. I just have the idea. Kind of hard for me to say what it is because, then it would be out there.
100%. No, 100%. So what I would first say, an NDA is going to be your best friend. LegalZoom can help you with that. You can get an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. So that way you can start talking to people and you have something backing that they're not just going to, blab. So that'd be one thing I'd suggest. Number two is going to colleges. They have some colleges have different programs for app development. That's something else you could do probably for free is get an intern or something like that to help you with. Or you can go the route of just, straight up hiring somebody to do it. That's the nuts and bolts of it.
I mean, as far as like reaching out to a company that's already, say Berkeley, they make everything. That versus doing it on a smaller scale with a smaller company is one going to be more beneficial.
Well, Berkeley will just steal it if it's successful, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's true. Make every bait known to man, right?
Yeah, I mean, so you don't have to worry about that. How much control do you want over it? Like, I think it comes down to that. If you ever followed the Rattle Trap, or not the Rattle Trap, I'm sorry, the Chatterbait thing, the $1 Million Idea, which it's a really cool documentary that I think Penrack and the BTL did, where it's the guy that got all the patents for the Chatterbait, and eventually it got to make so much money that he couldn't keep it anymore because corporations were just going to steal it from him. They were going to take him to court and eventually had to sell. So, but with that said, it took him a while to get to that point where it once became famous enough, it was smart for him to just sell off his idea versus trying to compete with the big boys with it.
Right.
I would suggest keeping the idea yourself, the best of your ability, and seeing how much it would cost to actually develop it. Make a spreadsheet. I mean, that's what I did when I started, this podcast, is create a spreadsheet of how much you think it would cost to beta test it. See if you can get a university or something like that, maybe to help you out with the idea, or some friends. Once you have a working prototype, then you can actually start pitching it to people.
Right. I guess the product itself is nothing revolutionary. It's used all the time. It's more how it's implemented and, the software part of it that can really make it be expanded.
Yeah, and then
So,
we got a comment here. Yeah, first you need a prototype. Depending on the material, you would find prototyping manufacturing, in house. And the other thing is too is like we're probably going to be also going into a recession right now. Spoilers for everyone in the chat that didn't know that. So if you build the idea between now and let's say 3 years, worst case scenario, I think 3 to 4 years, we're going to be out of the recession, but which means there's going to be more money to back the idea. So if you can spend the next 2 to 3 years building this thing up and getting it ready, and you get through the recession, then all of a sudden there's going to be a ton of money on the back end ready to like, okay, you got an idea you've been working on, it's proven. There's going to be more money around to actually market it and throw into it. Versus if you tried to rush it to market like next week or next year, a lot of companies' budgets are probably going to be constricting right now with the way things are. So just some food for thought there with that.
right. Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of like the idea of the going through university and letting them work on the software aspect of it.
Yeah, and just take your time with it. If you think it's a banging idea, don't give up on it. And get some kind of prototype figured out, and then start local.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome idea for the everyday fisherman, and the fishermen that I've got 5 other buddies who want to go as well, and just more so that than the tournament guys. They won't need it, but
No,
a pretty large fishing population out there that's not tournament fishing every day.
well, and that's the thing too. And I think more companies are becoming more regional. If you look at how everything's kind of changing around, and so you don't have to be a Gillette razor or something like that and try to have national global dominance. But if you own a state, that's a lot of fishermen. You can do real well with that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. I appreciate you taking the call and appreciate the information. Get me headed in the right direction anyway.
No, absolutely. And then, just shoot me an email at, fishingthedmv@gmail.com if you have any more questions, or we can take it on offline and talk a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would like to talk to somebody, when it's not live in public, but.
Well, I'll be here to help you if you need anything.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great night, sir.
You too.
Again, guys, ooh, that was a good one. I like that one. Again, so the number is, I'll take one more because this is actually fun to actually talk to people. We got 240-542-9877. Let's try to get one more person to call into the show here before we call it a night. We got 240-542-9877. I love how I read those numbers so slowly because I'm afraid like they're going to change on me for some reason, even though I put them up there. But, math maybe wasn't my strong suit. Edge and Aaron's, good call that on the material and stuff. I just think and especially if he has to do a chip or something like that with, certain islands in Asia being taken over that run most of the microchips and all that other stuff. This is just not a good time. I also heard a rumor that the iPhone, this might be the last iPhone for a while, the iPhone 25 or whatever it is this fall, the iPhone 15. I think it's the last one that they're going to be dropping for a while, which is really interesting. Because that makes you think, like, with the electronics on the fishing side of it, is there going to be a chip shortage? Is that going to be an issue with Lowrance and Humminbird and Garmin and things like that? Or if you're using basically a computer chip for a bill of a crankbait, is that going to create issues there with the supply chains? Now, I think these are sometimes it's an excuse. I 100% believe that. I think that's why in a lot of situations, the prices are as expensive as they are. I talked to a guy about trucks, and one reason trucks are as expensive as they are right now is they got rid of all their baseline models. They yeeted it. They got rid of them completely. And their thought process there is, they said they don't have the space for it, but it's more of a cop out that they don't make as much money on baseline trucks. They're going to make it on the higher accessoried ones. And right now they have the industry by the balls, and they can basically say, yeah, all we have is the Lariat edition. What are you going to do about it? And it's going to drive up the inflation, and not drive up the inflation. It's going to drive up the market for used vehicles, which is going to be bad. But this is the same thing that's really happening with the boat market too, where there is a massive, massive, Yeah. The semiconductor shortage coming for sure as the market recalibrates towards automotive. Some rare earth metals constrained and the polymers used in subcomponent products will be interesting to see compact into civilian market. It really will be. And I think there's going to be a reshuffle. I think things are going to become more regional. I think the world market is basically done at this point. I think we're going to get more regional. I think we're not going to have as much stuff with China going on. I think Mexico is going to become a bigger provider of a lot of this stuff. They're going to be our one because China's contracting right now. And all these supply chains and everything are basically it's a huge reshuffle. And I think what we're also going to see is a huge push away from electric cars probably too, because if you look at the Ford electric truck, whatever the hell it's called, it bombed. It did terrible. And I think people are starting to push back against some of this stuff. I think even though California bring our baits back to the USA. Yeah, bring our baits back to the USA, but bring like lithium batteries, chips, like, the chip shortage and the semiconductor thing. Well, like the GPS units we have now, Jenny, and this is my sister, by the way, but she doesn't fish a lot, but just to give her context, because she's into the military industrial complex herself. These fish finders we have are basically computers. They're MacBooks. They have massive processors on them, and they can handle just so much information. And that takes semiconductor shortage. It takes semiconductors to do things like that. It takes the chips to do things like that. So it's just insanely interesting to me where this is going to go from here. But if you look at a bass boat, and guys, I just want to bring this up here just to kind of show you how insane this is right now, because my truck is dying. I have issues with my truck. I'm hoping it's going to last longer. It might not. It might end my fishing career because I don't have a truck that works. But the fact is, you can't replace it. And I thought the truck market was bad. But let's go with Icon. I want to bring this up to you right here because I thought this was just my jaw hit the ground when I saw this. If it'll come up, because my internet is slow, and that bothers me. Where's the price? Come here with the price, please. There it is. There it is. Starting price on an Icon boat is $125,000. $125,000. That is a house payment in some countries. That's the starting price for a bass boat. That's insane. For me to get a new truck, I mean, it's insane the amount of prices that you have to pay for this. When does this bubble pop? It's got to pop at some point, correct? Like how are you doing this with tournaments where the entry fees are going down? Everything is going up in price. Like at some point, this whole industry is going to buckle. And I'm really curious to know when this is going to happen. It's just such an interesting dilemma that we're in. Like, how can a boat cost $130,000, $150,000? Our boat price is going to get to the fact that we're at 150 to 200,000. I think kayaks are going to get that way too. I mean, if you look at like the Hobie PA 14, you're getting close to $5,000-$6,000 just for the damn kayak. Where's the Torqeedo? Where's the forward-facing sonar? Where are the accessories you need? And so just to get the base level thing, this is going to create a hell of a used market. Like, why would you want to get something new? I truly, it boggles the mind. I really do eventually one day want to get one more boat before I pass off this great earth. But at $150,000, no, I couldn't afford that. I don't know. I don't know where it kind of goes from here with this industry and things like that. But anyway, let's end the call. Let's end the show with one more call. We'll get the number back up there. 240-542-9877 is the thing for Fishing the DMV online. Give me a call right now. This will be the last call of the night, and we'll be giving away a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. Again, we got one more call, and then we're shutting it down. This is your chance to kind of win a prize here. Our first thing, costs more than a truck. Lee, it does. It's absolutely insane. Let's have a fun question. Give me something fun to talk about and not all this depressing crap about how everything's too expensive. No, Lee, it's just the cost from. Hey, Lee, why don't you give me a call? Lee, give me a call right now. Let's talk something. I don't care what. But yeah, no, costs more than a truck. It's just, it's freaking insane right now. The prices of everything. I just don't know where it goes from here. I tell you one thing though that I really want to see done is more lake building at some point. And I know people think I'm a Looney Tune for thinking that, but it's going to happen. Before we die, there will be a big surge in building lakes because there's going to be so much money in it. Because at some point, Lake Anna, a property down there, is going to cost $6 million per house. Something just crazy like that. And no one's going to be able to live down there. Oh, Lord, we got another phone call. Here we go. Oh. My sophisticated system here. Hey, this is Thomas Fishing in DMV. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Who is this?
It's Lee Wells.
Hey, Lee. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Sorry, I had to mute my TV, my YouTube. So.
Oh, you're good. You're coming in loud and clear. How'd you do at the Rappahannock?
Did okay. Caught a couple fish. Nothing too big. You know. Did okay. Caught a couple fish. Nothing too big.
Are you ready for the Battle of Five Lakes Electric Boogaloo coming up?
I'm sorry, say again.
Are you ready for the next tournament coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I'm undecided on which lake I'm going to do.
I mean, you could just flip a coin, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do that. I mean, I got 2 lakes in mind. I've pre-fished both of those, and the other 3, I may just flip a coin and go to one of those 3. It's, I don't know. You know, it's just one of those. It's just hot right now. You know, the fish are deeper, and it's just going to be a matter of who can find them. You know, for this one, I'm hoping I can get a topwater bite early in the morning with the fly rod to score a few fish, and then, you know, work the rest of it from there.
How are you doing in the points right now?
I'm sorry?
How are you doing in the points?
Oh, God, I don't know. I think I was like 30th.
Well, that's not bad.
Last I saw.
What did they take?
You were ahead of me a little bit.
How am I ahead of you? I fished 1.
I don't know. I was just kidding.
Oh, okay. I was shocked there.
I'm just curious. I don't really remember. I think I'm within striking distance. The first place. You know, if I can win this one, then you know, first couple places don't do very well, I might have a shot at AOI. But you know, it's all fun. It's all fun. Oh, I did get my PB Smalley a couple weeks ago, 21 incher. That was pretty cool,
dude. That's awesome.
On the Upper Potomac.
Oh wow, the Upper Potomac, really?
Yep. I was fishing Algonkian to Great Falls. Yep. Had a really good day that day. Caught a bunch of 17s, 18s, a couple 19s, and a 21. So
honestly, I really feel like that's gonna. I'm fishing the Bronzeback Challenge next year for sure, and I really feel like the Upper Potomac is gonna play. It's gonna be the one that I need to figure out. It has the most big ones.
But yeah, that was fun. It's a good trip. That was the first time I ever fished the Upper Potomac, and so I'm like, oh, pretty impressed there. So
it's really a cool place, especially the main part of the Upper Potomac, because it's so much wider than the Shenandoah or the Rappahannock or the Upper Rappahannock. So you can really fish left to right, not just up and down.
A lot of options, a lot of option areas to go. You know, it was pretty cool. And then I think was it the day before? The day before that, or the next week? I can't remember. They're all melded together here these last couple weeks because I have something going on every weekend. As we had done the South Fork from Bentonville to Andy Guest State Park, and caught a few fish there. You know, I think my biggest one on that one was 16 and a half, but the folks I were with, they got a couple 18s, 18 and a half. So, there's fish now. You just got to find them,
Yeah, I know people get upset about the pressure and stuff, but the rivers have come such a long way since when I was a kid there, and you couldn't catch shit, and now all of a sudden you can actually have fun out there and catch some nice ones.
Yeah. Just, I wish we need some rain. The waterways are really low. I know the North Fork, I've had to stay off the North Fork because it's just been too low and getting all that moss and grass, and it's just nasty to fish. And, it's, you got to either get out and drag or knuckle drag.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't make it fun. Need some water to run it down.
You done any fly
fishing? I'm looking for a new, yeah, down here, Seven Bend State Park. I've done some.
Oh wow.
Little topwater action, a lot of small stuff. I'm hoping here to do some trout fishing here Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. I think they're talking about Sunday going down on the old famous Mossy Creek and do some fly fishing for trout on the Spring Creek. Hopper action time. Now's the time to get the hoppers and the crickets and all those topwater flies out and look for them browns.
Oh, we got an update, by the way, by Ben in the chat. Lee Wells currently sitting in 13th in AOI. He is downplaying himself a little.
Okay.
No pressure.
Hey.
You just don't want to jinx yourself. That's all it is.
Thanks. Got to root for the underdog.
We just got to put you on a river. Maybe like at some point they can have more like smallmouth tournaments, not just one. Then you'd absolutely just smoke them.
Yeah. I just like fishing fun. The best thing about the club is not so much, the points are fun, the awards and all that stuff, but the camaraderie and, the people,
Mm-hmm.
that's the best thing that I enjoy about the club. I mean, I've gotten to meet so many different people. Ben, of course, all kinds of people, Scott, Greg, all kinds of folks. And, with Nathan, and gotten to meet new friends from all different areas and get to go to different places or, a couple of them I brought up, like I had Peter up here and we fished in North Fork a couple times, a day and, getting to get those different friendships to look at different areas and fish. I know there's a couple guys we're talking about here in the fall, get a little more water. We might do some fly fishing together.
Oh,
cool. There's some more guys in the club that fly fish than I ever realized, which is kind of cool, Yeah.
And I really love the 5 Lakes tournaments or like the Bronzeback Challenge where you can fish so many of these local waters where I don't know. And you meet people. I remember when I was at the Sleeters Lake boat ramp and I met so many club members that lived here. And that blew my mind because just showing up there and realize like half of them live in Round Hill. I was like, oh God, I didn't know you guys live right here. And it was just, that's really a cool format.
Yeah.
Because like when I have a crew that I follow with the BFLs and, I'm driving down to High Rock and it's like 50 hours in the car and it sucks. And it's so cool to be able to kayak and fish local waters and not have to travel necessarily. Like every now and then, of course, it's fine, but it's just neat to have access to local waters.
Yeah, that's the thing, especially with me living in the valley, local waters is a little tough for me. Most of the club events, I have to travel an hour to an hour and a half or more, to get to. Living in Woodstock, what do I have? I have Lake Frederick.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a couple smaller lakes, that I go to, that are just as close. But if somebody wants to find them, those are out on the VGDIF page or DNR page, whatever you want to call it, but it's tough. And then I got the North Fork 5 minutes from the house, but then it's, everything else, South Fork's 35 minutes. That's not far. That's worth a drive, you know. But going to some of the lakes that some of the guys have, so it's cool to meet those guys and know that they live there, and then some of them you can feed off of their experience when you get to fish with them, and that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and that's the area that.
Although
oh, go ahead.
Good.
That's the.
No, I was gonna say the only thing. Your turn. I'll be quiet.
That's the area of the country that I would love to see. Listening to Odenkirk and all those people, where they put in Hunting Run Reservoir and Mooney and stuff, and they just basically use the Rappahannock to fill those lakes. They need to do something like that on the Shenandoah, where you have all that land available. Let's do something to where you can put in a 500, 600, 800 acre lake, and then just use the Shenandoah to fill it. Boom, you have an electric motor only lake, but it just gives us some more water. There's so much land down there where you could probably put in a 500 acre lake easily.
Yeah, on the South Fork area there would be. North Fork, problem is it's just everything's private so much.
Yeah. But there's a way. I'll be hitting that forever, because we have Virginia is such a big state, and the fact that we don't have a few more little lakes like that, 500 acres, 600 acres, it's a tragedy.
Yeah.
But have you fished Egypt Bend at all?
Not this year.
Really?
Nope.
Okay.
No. I also got my West Virginia license, and I go over to West Virginia to a couple lakes over there and fish. I got my West Virginia license too, because sometimes I'll go over there and trout fish, fly fish for trout over there. But there's a couple of smaller lakes over there. Wardensville for one, over that way. Go over the mountain there and fish some of those. Those have some good fun bass. I haven't got anything real big out of them, but it's a lot of fun. New lake doesn't get pressured quite as much by our, by the Northern Virginia people. But they're pretty cool to go to.
So what do you think the winning? I always want to say weight. I am sorry, my kayak guys. Winning inches will be for this event.
Oh, winning on this one. Oh, I think you're going to need 92.
Ooh, 92.
I think somebody's going to find some big ones. Yeah, I think it's going to be 92.
So what we can pencil you in then is you're going to hit 92 inches.
No, my goal's 5 fish. It's 60 inches. 60 inches. I need 60 inches. After that, I'll start calling.
What's good about this tournament is you're not allowed to fish Lake Frederick finally. So we get you off that cesspool and actually get you onto a place that you could probably catch 60 inches.
I did that the last 5 lakes. I fished Lake Frederick.
I know.
The Monday the Monday before I was out to Sleater, and I'd fished it, and I'd never been out there. I fished it, and I had caught a couple fish, and I was like, okay, but the grass really got me mad. It got in my trolling motor, and I was just like, and I just was like, do I really want to deal with that? And I said, and I knew that there was going to be a bunch of people there, and I said, the hassle of, getting in the morning, which I saw. I'm glad I did, because there, I went over to Frederick, put in pretty much whatever time I wanted, and popped in there. And hey, I caught some fish at Frederick. I didn't mind. I got 3 fish that day. I would have been nicer to add 5, but
I hope that place turns around, because it is so sad how that place fell from grace hard, and it's kind of rebounding right now, but Lord. Whew.
Well, yeah, it's rebounding because the guys are using live scope. You can't tell me they're not.
Oh no, 100%. I think, not to be egotistical, but I know when we broke that last year and everyone started to use scope, and I think it was SB's brother, he caught 2 or 3 fish close to 10 pounds over the winter and posted that online. And then everybody went over there and started scoping it. Which I don't know. It is what it is. Like there's no grass. There's no grass. There is grass. It's just not what it used to be when I was a kid.
Right. And of course, you got the shad that they're chasing.
Yep. Those blueback are insane, but I'll take you out on my boat
Yep.
in the wintertime and you can see the live scope right there because you can throw it on another rig and just absolutely just smoke them.
Love to. We got a date. You pick the day, Saturday or Sunday. I'm good.
Awesome. And well,
I'll take you up on that.
sounds like a plan. And then good luck this weekend. I want 92 inches out of you. I want you to win this one.
Oh, one more plug is I did not get my snakehead on the fly. I fished with VKAE this year, and I was really bummed. I mean, there's some opportunities to go looking for snakehead, but that was my goal this year, and I've failed so far. But the year's not over, so.
Well, yeah, we can't end on a depressing note like that. The Eastern Shore, I talked to Joe Love, and I didn't realize there's so much snakeheads on the Eastern Shore. Like there's a lot in all those little lakes and little rivers and stuff up there that I didn't know are just absolutely loaded with snakehead. Let me try to bring that up.
I might have to make a trip and go in search of here. I have a trip scheduled to the UP of Michigan here in September. Going to do some trout fishing up there. To see my son. It's a combination going to see the new grandbaby and fish with my son. We got some trout fishing up there for some brookies up in the UP, and we're probably going to do some smallmouth up there in the Hancock, Houghton area.
Oh, that's really cool. And yeah, I mean that's way to prioritize fishing and the grandbabies. I do like your system there on which one comes first.
Yeah, it's fish during the day, and then evening get to see the grandbaby, and then they'll be asleep, and nobody gets too tired of either.
Yes, always in moderation. And then before I get you out of here, let me see, which one did he say? It was the Choppetank River was one, and then where's the one in Salisbury? That's the one. Oh God, guys, you're gonna kill me with this. The Wicomico.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah. Those two are supposed to be banging right now for snakehead, and then apparently they're catching tarpon. I keep hearing rumors that tarpon are showing up in the Eastern Shore, which that would be hilarious.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, if you're fly fishing for a snakehead and a 6-foot tarpon slurps it.
Yeah.
Well, Lee, thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, glad. I like this format. It worked out pretty good. There was a little delay. There's a pretty good delay on the between here and the YouTube, but that might be just because of the internet that I do. But I mean, the sound is good. Works great. And all I want to say is you keep it up with fishing the DMV, and your support from Jake's Bait and Tackle. Thank you guys. Enjoy it, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we can keep making this better. And then, as always, guys, hopefully next Monday, I'm going to have the winner of the 5 Lakes tournament on a live stream. I really want to start doing that. So fingers crossed we'll make that happen next Monday. So good luck next week, sir. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. All right.
And what he doesn't know is I actually have like $100 riding on him that he's going to win. He just doesn't know that yet. I think that's awesome that Lee is so far up there. He scared the crap out of me when he said, like, yeah, you're high in the points. Like, I fished in one event. What? Because I would have signed up for this weekend if I knew that. I'll be doing that next year though. It's just it's so hard to do everything. That's pretty deep, isn't it? It's so hard to do everything. It's a no shit thing. I want to do more fishing next year. Eventually, I actually want to fish a whole tournament series of some sort, like actually do that and force myself to, which means I probably need to get employees. Or have a job, or have less jobs. A job. I have a job. I have multiple jobs. But guys, I think this format was pretty successful tonight. I like this. And I know that there's I think Kayak Bass Nation's live stream will be starting here shortly. So I want to make sure I don't impede with that. So again, for everyone that called in, please text me again your email address, and that way I can send you kind of your reward, your gift card. That way I know I'm actually doing it to the right person. But otherwise, thank you so much. This has been the first call-in show, and then hopefully there's more to come. If this is a format people like, please let me know, because this has been my dream, is to get it to the point where we can do a legitimate fishing radio call-in show. I think that's a really cool thing for the community. But again, like and subscribe to the channel, guys. And yeah, we'll see you next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your hosts, Thomas Ahrens and Jared Mounts. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.